And the difference is you don't just build a business as a founder, you build belief, bold decisions, and fast execution. Mistakes are the tuition, not failure. In other words, mistakes are the gateway to success, and so high risk tolerance and decisiveness is important. The best founders act quickly, they take calculated risks, and they don't let fear of failure paralyze them. They know that every mistake is a payment towards experience, and the speed of execution matters more than the actual perfection. Founders take full responsibility for outcomes, even when it's not directly their fault, which could be happening a lot. That kind of ownership gives you power because if it's your fault, it's also within your control to fix it. There's a fine line between grit and ignorance. The best founders know when to push forward and when to change direction. Remind yourself that your business growth is capped by your personal growth. All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. And today we're talking about how to unlock a founder mindset. And I've been able to work with a lot of founders over the years, especially with Valiant CEO and the global brands that we built, the various businesses that I've owned. But there are 8 specific things that I wrote down that I think really help you to unlock a founder mindset. And these are 8 areas I want to cover in this short episode, so I hope they bring you value. Let's start out with what is a founder mindset? And why do I say that? You hear me talk a lot about entrepreneurship, business owners, and individuals. But a founder mindset, because there's a difference between employee, manager, and founder thinking. And even founder thinking versus a typical business owner. And the difference is you don't just build a business as a founder, you build belief. That's the really important distinction. So what is a founder mindset? Most people focus on execution, doing tasks, managing sales, or running operations. But a founder mindset is rooted in vision and belief and long-term impact. It's not just about working in your business, but working on yourself so that your business can grow. And you're building something that doesn't exist yet, and that requires a level of thinking and leading and believing at a whole higher level. And so that's one of the things that I think is really important to understand. At least the first thing is what is this founder mindset? The second thing that I really want to point out is in a founder mindset, it's vision over tasks. What do I mean by that? Founders see the long game, not just the daily to-dos. They think big and they delegate small. So let's talk about that. Successful founders are visionaries. They're not caught up in the weeds every single day. They design the game, they set the direction, and they empower others to run the plays. And so if you're stuck in tasks, you're not building the future. You're not in that founder mindset. So you've got to start scheduling time to think big, define your mission, and create systems that run without you. It's important that as a founder mindset, you really latch on to the vision over the tasks. The third area that I think defines a founder mindset is high risk tolerance and decisiveness. And this is something a lot of business owners struggle with: bold decisions and fast execution. Mistakes are the tuition, not failure. In other words, mistakes are the gateway to success, and so high risk tolerance and decisiveness is important. The best founders act quickly, they take calculated risks, and they don't let fear of failure paralyze them. They know that every mistake is a payment towards experience, and the speed of execution matters more than the actual perfection. So you've got to train yourself to make decisions based on your vision, not on your comfort or your perfectionist personality traits, right? So that's the third thing. The fourth thing that I believe defines a founder mindset is extreme ownership. You've heard a lot of times me quote Jocko Willink and his discipline equals freedom. Extreme ownership means no excuses. The founder owns the results, good or bad. That's no exception. You can't blame your team. You can't blame the market. You can't blame the economy. Founders take full responsibility for outcomes, even when it's not directly their fault, which could be happening a lot. That kind of ownership gives you power because if it's your fault, it's also within your control to fix it. And this level of personal accountability builds trust, culture, and performance, and it extends to your team. So extreme ownership is not just a cool tagline. It's something that you've got to adopt as a founder mindset. The fifth thing that I want to mention to you and talk to you about is resilience and emotional fortitude. Now, this is a tough one because founders ride the emotional roller coaster, but they ride the emotional roller coaster just like everyone else, but with more grace. Mental fitness is as vital as the funding to the business. So, your mindset and your emotion is so important. Building a business is pretty brutal. It's not for everyone. There's going to be fear and failure and anxiety and rejection and loss and imposter syndrome. But your ability to regulate your emotions and bounce back quickly becomes your competitive edge. And so, as a founder mindset, you develop resilience and you develop that emotional fortitude, mental health. So, you've got to focus on mental health, mindfulness, and emotional support because those are just as important as the business strategy. I hope you're starting to see what I'm saying here. When you start looking at what is a mindset of a founder and focusing on vision and high risk tolerance and decisiveness and extreme ownership, and then adding to it resilience and emotional fortitude, this is really defining what a founder mindset means. So, the sixth thing that I wrote down is learning obsessed and growth oriented. Founders are not know it alls. They're not the smartest people in the room. They're learn it alls, not know it alls. Founders have curiosity and they value their curiosity over their credentials. It's not about proving that they're the best because they want to grow their business. Every great founder is a student of the market, of leadership, of themselves. They know the moment they stop learning, their company starts dying. And so develop a growth habit. You've got to have this in your daily rituals. Read daily, ask better questions, stay curious. Even when you've seen the success and you know that you might be one of the smartest ones in the room at times. Hopefully you're not because you're wanting to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you so you can grow your business. But become learning obsessed and growth oriented, growth mindset oriented. The seventh thing that I think clearly defines a founder mindset, what you want to focus on is identity shift. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in upcoming episodes, but you are your brand. Founders become the face of the mission. They don't hide behind their business. They have visibility, vulnerability, and values. But you have to shift your identity into being the brand. As your company grows, so does your visibility. And people will buy into you far, and even funding sources are going to buy into you far before they buy into your product. That means showing up online, speaking your truth, aligning your personal brand with your business values. The founder's identity drives the culture and it drives the marketing and even the sales. I've had this happen recently in my business where I've had to stop being the one behind the scenes of all these global brands and actually step out into the spotlight because I have a vision of what I want to create. And so you have to sometimes shift your identity no matter where you are in business because you are the brand. And then the final point that I want to make to you today is you've got to know when to pivot versus persevere. This is a tough one for a lot of people. They don't know whether they've got to pivot or they've got to just keep gutting it out. Strategic thinking isn't about stubborn hustle. I'm just going to grind and grind. It's the market's going to provide you feedback that should drive your evolution as a business owner and a founder. There's a fine line between grit and ignorance. The best founders know when to push forward and when to change direction. And so it's not about quitting. That's not the point. I think so many people lose track and they feel like I'm giving up on things. It's about listening to the feedback in the market, trusting your gut, adapting fast, and don't fall in love with your own solutions. Fall in love with solving the problems. It's not about any particular idea. So you've got to know when to pivot and when to persevere. So look, I'm going to add one little bonus topic here, and this is the founder's dilemma. This founder's dilemma is something that kind of hit me recently. One of the greatest mindset shifts that founders face is learning to choose between being rich and being the king, the number one person. That phrase comes from Noam Wasserman's study of the startup founders, where he found that those who clung to control over ending up being wealthy actually became less wealthy. And the people that were willing to hand over power of their company or bring in executives to run and take on responsibility, they grew larger, more valuable. So you have to ask yourself this, and this is why I wanted to bring this up. You have to ask yourself, do you want to be the boss Or do you want to build something legacy that changes your life and changes the world? See, I believe founders want to build legacy and wealth. They're not about control. And so I think that if you keep that in mind, and just as a quick review for you, you've got to adopt the founder mindset of building belief, not just your business. You've got to choose your vision over your tasks. You have to have a high degree of risk tolerance and decisiveness. You have to take extreme ownership, build your resilience and your emotional fortitude, become learning obsessed and growth oriented, and you've got to shift your identity into becoming the brand of the business. And when you do that, and you also know when to pivot and persevere, then this is where you go to the next level as a founder. And this is why I wanted to talk about this founder mindset. Remind yourself that your business growth is capped by your personal growth. So ask yourself this: which level of identity are you operating from today? Is it a founder mindset, or is it a business owner, entrepreneur, hustler? And if you're ready to extend that mindset, I want you to join me this week, because I'm going to be talking about the 5 levels of identity shift. We've got a couple of amazing interviews that are coming up. I hope that the topic, though, of this founder mindset really gave you something today, and something that you can carry into the week. In fact, I would encourage you to visit us and join us for our masterclass. We're doing an authority marketing masterclass on Thursday. You can go to authoritymedianetwork.com. I'm sure I can have my team put the link in the show notes as well. But join us for our masterclass, because we're going to show you how to leverage your time and money to be able to become the brand of your business. But with that said, I really hope you'll share this episode. I hope it's something that helped you. And if you're struggling as a business owner or a founder, hit me up on the Daily Mastermind on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Got my contact information in the show notes. I want to know what you're working on. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me what you're winning at. I'd love to celebrate the wins as well. But I promise you, if you adopt this founder mindset, what's going to happen is you are going to start to unleash your true potential, and your business and your life and your lifestyle is all going to grow. And so I hope you will take that to heart. I look forward to talking with you soon. My name is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day.